Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. Let's talk about it with your host, Felita. I hope everyone's having a great day. I have a wonderful guest on this morning. Her name is Bethany Barton. And Bethany is an astrologer, a relationship expert who recently completed her breakout book, Apologies I Never Got. Love it. It is a book of dating and relationship horror stories, phrases as apologies you never got, from the people who never gave them to you. So often in relationships and life, we never receive the apologies we deserve, but that's okay because we never really needed them in the first place. Healing is an inside job, and thankfully, one we are well qualified for. Her book teaches people how to write their own apologies for the ones they never got and move on to the lives and loves they deserve. She also works with individuals and couples. She's written in the Stars Relationship Session, where she utilized intuitive tools such as tarot and astrology, as well as contemporary dating theories, such as love languages and attachment theory. She works with couples and individuals to help to release the hurt blocks and limiting beliefs of their relationships past to help bring them in their relationships future. She works with them to build new foundations so they can create the love they deserve in their lives. Yeah. She also has a degree in philosophy. She's trained for many years in intuitive development, tarot, and most recently astrology. She's able to dive deep into spiritual aspects of relationships as well and utilize these aspects in her relationship sessions. Welcome, Bethany. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me, what inspired you to write this book?
Yeah, so it actually started a little bit as an inside joke with some friends with a bad date or different things. And then it would be like, there's an apology I'll never get. And we would write it ourselves joke. And then I started applying that to my own life. And I realized, wow, there's some really deep work here. There's some real meaning.
But I also feel like everyone, you say you don't want to, but you always bring that baggage into that next relationship. Whether it's your insecurities, whatever it may be, you always bring that in. And I feel like you really need to do the work and realize that person is not that same person, so you just don't destroy those relationships. Because if you're just like, oh, he did this or she did this, you just automatically assume that every woman's the same or every man is the same, and they're really not. And yeah, so how does one avoid doing that? Like bringing baggage into a new relationship that essentially has to be healthy, because I feel like everyone starts off with a clean slate, right? But if you have so much baggage and pain that you haven't dealt with, ultimately it could be the demise of this new relationship that you're in. So how does one deal with that to say, okay, I need to get healthy? Because ultimately we have to do the work as well. It's not on them, it's on us. Right. Yeah. Or you also feel, yeah. And I also feel, do you feel like also, I'll have friends and even myself included in the past, prior to being married, you feel like, why do you attract the same type person? the same type of man. You were like, what do I have it like stuck on my forehead? Hey, you know what I mean? It's what is going on. And I like how, and I hear that so much from friends like, this is the type of guy, like, that is my type. I'm always attracting that type of guy that I know, like, the red flags are right there automatically, but yet and still they're still hanging in there, thinking it's going to get better or just putting up with the BS. Yeah, so true. Right, right. And I love that because I feel like people, when you really think about it and you look at the relationships or the people that we choose to have in our lives, specifically relationships, people will let you know who they are. If you go on a date, like this person is telling you who they are. And if you choose to ignore, that's on you because I feel like yeah, you can't think, oh, I can change them. Like if you go out on a date with someone and they're just so self centered and it's all about them, they've let you know that, you know, like it is all about me. This is my world and you are just in it. Just so many things. Like, what do you want in life? Like, I always think like people will say, so you can answer this, dating nowadays, women are like, okay, women are having kids later in life as well, like in their 40s. So you have someone that's single and they're just like, okay, I'm like 35, 38, 40, and I want to get married. Like, I want to have kids. I feel like for me, but you know what? I'm not single. But then I said, I do believe if I was, I would say right off the bat, what do you want in life? You know what I mean? I think that's fair. I'm just having a good time. I want to travel. Do you see kids in your future? No, not really. They've let you know, right? So do you think, yeah. So do you think like asking, like, how soon is too soon to ask about what do you want out of life? Do you want a family? Maybe he wants one and you don't. So when is the right time? That's so true. Or it's like settling, right? So if you're saying you're like, yeah, you're settling, so you're not. And I just, oh, so many times as a woman, you're like, oh, he's not that bad. He just said that's the only thing. But if you're making such a huge sacrifice of something that you want and that's extremely important to you, you're ultimately settling. And at the end of the day, you're going to be unfulfilled and you're not going to have that happiness there. And I just wish more women would know their worth. And I feel like some friends, I just feel like they'd rather just be in a relationship than just be single and not loving yourself. And it literally took me a long time to get there. Like to say like, I choose me first. This is unacceptable. This is not what I want. I choose me. And you have to choose you. You have to say, because no one's going to love you like you love you. And you know what? Doing the work and saying, you know what? I have to know my self-worth and what I'm worth. You know, it's not about them and it's about what is this person contributing to me? Is he or she, are they good for me? And I'm not settling. And I think in some degree we all settle, but that's like small where they go, oh, I'm talking about little things like, oh, you put the daggone toilet up, you left the seat up. Those are like little small things, or, oh, you didn't take the trash out. But I'm talking about the huge things that have such an impact on your life that where you have to sit and go, ooh. And I've always said, if you are in relationships and you're like, are fighting 7 days a week, or if there's 7 days in a week, and if you're fighting 5 out of them, that's not happiness. Do you know what I mean? That's not. We all have disagreements. Yeah, right? So you should be able to talk about them. And it shouldn't be like you're being called out of your name and you have to go, well, he did this or she said this because they were mad at me. No, that's not something they should say anyways. Right? So, yeah. But yeah, and I just feel like it's so dating now. I'm not out there, but I feel like from hearing from my friends, and I have one friend that's just, I don't really care. I just rather be single because I know, and I love that because I know my worth. You know what I mean? I am not settling. I am okay with being alone. I love myself. I have no problem with being home on a Friday or Saturday and ordering like takeout and getting on my couch and like eating or snuggling in my bed alone and watching something. And I just love that because not everyone is there. So when she says that, I'm just like, oh, wow, that is awesome. Clearly, like you've done the work. Yeah, because not everyone's like that. And you hear that they're just like, it's so hard to date. It is so, and the apps. So let's talk about the apps. Do you feel like they work? Like dating, like that's the way. Like how many people are not going to be in a club and be like, hey, I just met this guy? You're not going to be at the dinner and go, hey, some guy came over. Hey, I met my husband. He's not knocking at the door. So I always just feel like, so how is it? It's so different unless you're like, you have a friend of a friend, a colleague, or someone that's, hey, I think you'd be a great match. Like you guys are you both are just like awesome together. Other than that, I feel like it's tough. So how is dating now? So different. So true. Yeah. Great. So let's talk about this is one that I really like, and I want to talk about the couple bubble. Let's talk about the couple bubble. Ye ye Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so true. So I like the couple bubble's actually good. It's like there, it's like you protect each other. Like it's this is our home. Like we, like you said, aside from being something very physical, I'm sorry, or verbally abusive, but you keep it in because the minute you start venting, it's like they're gonna say, "You said he was this way," or "You said she was this," or this and that. You're like, "No, they're really not." Or it's, where you can go, I can call them an asshole, but you can't. It's what do you call them an asshole? What are you crazy? You know what I mean? How dare it's you're just saying this, but you've invited them in there. So that makes a lot of sense. That makes so much sense. Yeah. Yeah, because that person's not good. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, one yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. I love that. That the couple bubble's really good. Okay, let's see. What are the most important aspects of a relationship? Yeah. Right. Yeah, there's just yeah, just being like yeah, just yeah, like a little crazy. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want that. You go, this is not good. This is but then that's also that's so unhealthy. And I agree with you. I think being friends is super important. At the end of the day, if you're like, I like this person, I can hang out with them and they're just my best buddy. Do you know what I mean? Outside of anything that's intimate or anything that they're just like, this is like my person. So that's super important. Yes, because sometimes they're like, "I don't even like him." I've had people say that, "I don't even like him. I don't even like her. I can't stand him." Yeah, you're like, "And how long have you been together?" "I can't stand him." It's okay, maybe you should not be together. And they just got caught up in it. So that's that. No, it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna ebb and flow. It's just called life. You know what I mean? Okay, so what do you think are the most common dating app mistakes that people are making? Why they are not successful? Oh, look at that. That's actually good. Yeah, that's a good one. He says they're married, but they're not sleeping together. Yeah, I that's fun. I love those. House, yeah. Yeah. And the well is so good. Yeah. Oh, that's a red flags, I think. Oh, that's so true. Like, no, you're like we're complete opposite. That's not what you were looking for. You're like, "That's not my jam." Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I love the list, like, even prior to dating. So and when you're in that, you can go back and be like, no, this is not for me. You're right. Like a casual, like you're saying, yeah. Or if you're like a health person, like I love working out. So I work out like 6 days a week. I would be like, if I was single, I'd be like, okay, if you're not working out, if you're not, those are things like I feel like when you're like a super healthy person, and if that person's the opposite, you're gonna go, we're probably not gonna mesh. And if he's the only thing I want to do is walk down the stairs, or my cardio is walking up a flight of stairs, or it's like totally different because you're not even gonna enjoy the things that could be like adventurous or something that's outdoorsy. Even they're gonna be like, no, I'm not into it. So that's gonna be a total like thing where you go, okay, you're a great person, but we don't mesh. Like it's not gonna work, and I can't make you be something that you're not, right? Especially when you get older, because people are pretty much already set in their ways. Like, this is, no, I've been like, I like to hang out with my friends and booze it. And you're just like, no, that's not fun. No. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sorry. You're like, that's not my thing. I like that. So good. So what are the red, yellow, and green flags in relationships? Right. Yeah. Right. Right. One. Oh, 1000%. Right. Right. It could be like four glasses or five, and you're like, okay, that's a lot. And it's all the time. That's a problem. Right. R- right. 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 Or being like you said, desensitized, hurt people, right? So two unhealthy people that have never had, they don't know what it looks like. They hurt each other because that's all they know. Unstable relationships, the fighting, the drinking, the drugs, they feel like, so then you attract that, you're in that relationship. So all you know how to do is hurt because you don't know how to love because you've never had it. So that's why it's hurt people. So yeah, I love that. And you know what else I love, Bethany, is I love astrology. I've always, and people would think, oh, you're so freaking kooky. I'm like, no, I'm not. I've always, since I was young, I'd be like, okay, what sign is he? I can't go with him because we don't get along. And it's so true. I'd be like, no, I don't, me and the Pisces don't get along. We just don't click. And I'm like, wow. And I like, we're better off like friends. Like, I know I'll say automatically, what sign are they? Okay. Nope. I'm not even going to try because I already know what's going to happen. I know what type of person they are. And I've always been about the signs. And I'll say to people, oh, what sign are they? And they'll be like, what does it matter? And I'll be like, oh, I don't know. It matters to me. Like, because I feel like you attract. So yeah. So I am a Libra. And I am so interested for you to tell me about me. Yeah, what does my sign say about me? Yes, so true. So true. Especially for my past relationships. That's my son. Yeah, it's an Aries, yeah. But I'll be like, "What sign are you? You're a fire sign, or you're a water." Like, I'm like, people look at me like, "You're nuts," and I'm like, "But I've always been into it." Yeah, and I like so heartily, wholeheartedly believe in it. I love it. Yeah. So yeah, I think it says so much like the compatibility. I'll just go, well, you know what? I don't think you two will really match because I know. And then down the line, I'll be like, "You were right." And I was like, "How'd you know?" I'm like, "Oh, because I'm really into, like, the signs." I really believe in it. I'm like, so even for this year, so, like, 2024, they were like, "This is the year. This is, like, my year. You're gonna, like, you're flourish." And I tell people, they don't really believe me. They think I'm, like, a little out there, but I'm really not. I'm just like, I do believe in the signs. Yeah. I believe that. Yeah, and it's funny that you say that about the Aries. So my son is can be on the cusp. Like, so he's like the 20th, but he could be Aries or Taurus, but he has a lot of the Aries traits. And he was just like reading, whoa, that's so me, mom. Like independent. He's like only 11 years old. But like you go, wow, that's so true. Yeah, I'm such a firm believer in it. Definitely. And I think like I've gotten my mom into it as well. She'll say, well, you know what? I don't know. This particular sign is really like this. I will sometimes put the needs of them in front of myself. And I remember one time I had a friend and I was just like, wait a minute, like I'm done. It's just not about, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm putting, like, what is it about me? When's the last time you ever said, hey, how are you? What's going on in your life? It was always about them. And I'd be like, dude, like no matter what time they call, I'm like there for them. And then sometimes you feel like, okay, like I'm always there for them. When is anyone there for me? So really interesting. Yeah, that's the only thing I will say about the Libra. Yeah, that's awesome. Bethany, this was awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sure my audience has learned so much, and I can't wait to get the book, The Apologies I Never Got. So it's not out yet. Can you tell my audience when the book will be out, where they can find you? Yes. If they want to get in touch, follow you, can you? And they can book it virtually as well. Oh, awesome. Thank you again, Bethany. This was awesome. And I know my audience enjoyed it. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining. And I will see you next week. Until then, have yourself a wonderful day. Bye.